Hey, Liberty North AP Psych students, good morning. It is Wednesday, April 29th. And if you want to go ahead and get out your psych disorder chart, we're going to add 10 and 11 on today. And while people are getting on, just a big announcement. So if you haven't already looked at Canvas, you need to, as administration has decided that we're going to have to submit the AP notebook via online. Okay, so we're not going to be able to do any type of drop off or anything like that. So I was hoping maybe that'd be possible with the May 4th opening of businesses in Clay County, but they just don't believe that it would probably be wise at this point. So we're going to roll with that. And so what you're going to do is, so your AP notebook just needs to be submitted to me online by May 8th, okay, which is next Friday, okay? Now you can start submitting it at any time, but again, we still need to get 16 and 17 in there. So I've got on Canvas, if you go down and you go to the assignments, so go to Canvas, go to assignments, and then I've got the chapter assignments, and then down below that, I've got the journal critique, and then I'll have the AP notebook down there. And then it gives you instructions of what to take pictures of and what to send to me, okay? And they can be pictures with your phone. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything. Or if you have a better way, I put on there, if you've even got a better way, if you want to copy and paste it to a Google Doc and share it with me that way, that's fine as well. But basically what I want pictures of or evidence of is your perspectives, your names, your brain structures, okay? And then I have I have 6 chapters that you're going to send in AP learning targets and vocab for, okay? And they're different, okay? So just go to Canvas and follow that. If you have any questions, then just let me know. But that's kind of how we're going to have to, at least that's the way I thought of to do that. So however you want to, the best way for you to get those digitally submitted to me by next Friday is kind of what we're going to have to do, okay? All right. So if you have any questions, again, contact me. Let me know how to do that. But I'm going to put a little note on that today on Twitter. Make sure that you look at that, watch this video, and look at Canvas. Okay. All right. All right. So let's continue on. We're going to go in order of the textbook. Okay. And today we are going to talk about number 9, schizophrenia, number 10, schizophrenia, and number 11, antisocial personality disorder. Okay. All right. Schizophrenia is under the category of schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. That's AP learning target number 6. And antisocial personality disorder is under personality disorders, and it is AP learning target number 9. Okay, schizophrenia and antisocial personality disorder. Okay. All right, then also I have, yesterday was a bad day for technology. Nothing was working, and then your assignments link on Canvas for chapter 16 and 17 just disappeared. I don't know where it went, but when I went there this morning to add some videos, it's gone. So I've recreated it very quickly, but I have added 2 amazing videos on schizophrenia, and they're basically how we using technology can basically virtually give someone the experience of what it would like to be to have schizophrenia. One is done on Anderson Cooper with auditory hallucinations, and then one is done on visual hallucinations. So kind of what it would be like to be psychotic, to have a break from reality and see and hear things that aren't real. You can kind of watch that. And some of you, if you go to a research institute or college, you might actually get to be a part of that study, which would be pretty phenomenal. Okay. All right. So schizophrenia. Okay. Number 10 today, schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders. Okay. AP learning target number 6. Okay. So now, because it is psychotic, right? We know that it's going to be psychotic over here, right? Okay. psychotic disorders, okay? All right, so these are basically where all of, and there are more psychotic disorders than just schizophrenia. However, schizophrenia is the most diagnosed and it is the most prevalent psychotic disorder, okay? All right, so symptoms of schizophrenia are going to be hallucinations, delusions, and disorganized thoughts, okay? All right, so now we need to talk about the differences between the three, okay? Disorganized thought is basically, there's a lot of uncontrollable thinking going on in their mind, and it is all disorganized, mixed, and scrambled, okay? All right, so the brain's pretty active, but it's also just jumbled up and disorganized. So we have that, and actually I could probably put disorganized thought and speech here, okay? All right, hallucinations are when I see or hear something that's not real, okay? So you have auditory hallucinations, which make up about 60% of the hallucinations in schizophrenia. So they're hearing things that aren't real. And then you have visual hallucinations, which make up about 40%, in which they see things that are not real, okay? So, that's hard to imagine. But what is very unique when you watch the videos and in the simulations is that schizophrenic patients generally hear the same type of things and they generally see the same type of things. So there seems to be a pattern there when the brain is unhealthy and afflicted with schizophrenia, that there is a relation, there's a correlation between the auditory hallucinations and the visual hallucinations, which is why they can create such a real simulation, because they work with schizophrenic patients, they log what they see, what they hear, and then they can plug it into a computer and create a virtual simulation. All right, so generally what they hear and what they see are things of persecutory nature. They're dangerous, they include death, they're not very pleasant, and they haunt the individual, okay? So basically you have all this activity going on in your mind and you hear things and you see things that aren't real. So it's very easy, okay, you are disconnected from reality, and it's very easy for these to kind of take over. So there's also a huge battle going on in your mind between what is real and what's not. And hopefully we're going to get to being able to watch the movie A Beautiful Mind and discuss it together, but that's a great movie about a true historical character. The greatest mathematician probably in the history of the world. Some people believe he was afflicted with schizophrenia, and you can kind of really get to see that it's a battle. His mind becomes a battleground, not to lose touch with reality completely, okay? All right, so hallucinations are visual and auditory. They see and hear things that aren't real. Then delusions. Delusions are basically thinking, okay, thoughts that are not based in reality, okay? So when I have delusional thinking, then I am thinking thoughts that are not based in reality, okay? Usually they are related together, but they don't have to be. Again, in my clinical experience, I did work for comprehensive mental health, and I worked at a halfway house for schizophrenic patients. So when they went into the hospital, as part of the rehabilitation program to get them back out into the real world, they stopped at this halfway house, if you will, and we taught them, we made sure they got stabilized on their medication, that they were educated about their medication, what it did for them. We kind of gave them individual living skills in the hope to get them going, okay? So I got to see a lot of this, and it wasn't very pleasant, and it was a very difficult job with, it's just really tough to treat these patients. But one example that sticks to my mind is we had a patient who basically anytime there was a lawnmower or any type of engine noise like that, he heard voices persecuting him, like the engine was speaking to him, okay? And then he believed that lawnmowers and stuff wanted to harm him and were actually speaking to him, okay? So you can see the hallucination were auditory. He heard voices, he heard the engine speaking to him. And then the delusional thinking is that lawnmowers can speak, engines can speak to me, and only to me, not to anybody else. Okay, so that's kind of how we have, it's kind of what they deal with and what they go through. Okay, so delusionals, that aliens are going to come take over the world, and they only can communicate to me. The CIA is talking to me through my phone, and they're signaling me with codes that only I can read. Those type of things. Okay. All right. But what most people don't know is that the dominant hallucination is actually auditory. Okay. It's actually hearing things, voices that aren't real. Okay. All right. This is biological. Okay. So we know, there are many neuroscience findings with schizophrenia. One of the first ones we found is that there is less brain mass or matter in schizophrenic patients. Actually, a schizophrenic brain looks much like an alcoholic's brain, okay? Or basically anybody who abuses drugs. And I will say this, that most of the patients that we dealt with, I'm gonna say 90% of the patients we dealt with developed schizophrenia because of drug use, okay? And the drug use, whether it be illicit drugs or alcohol, damage their brain, as all of those drugs do. It shrinks the brain mass and the matter. And what happens is you have more gaps in the brain. You have your fluid-filled areas become larger. And that is notable. It's in the book. If you Google it, you're going to see a lot of research there. Now, the research has come a long way as well, and it's advanced. And we know more now of ways that the schizophrenic brain is different from the normal brain. But that's just one, but it is very biological, it's very genetic, but also keep in mind it's very, very rare. So about 1% of the world's population are diagnosed with schizophrenia, okay? So, but there is a huge biological component. If it was in your family, you probably would know by now, but basically that's kind of where it's at. However, drug use and drug abuse is kind of up there as well. The damage that the brain receives from those toxins or those substances that you induce to your brain can create the atmosphere for schizophrenia to develop. Okay. So it's very biological. All right. Okay. So let me hold this up. Back there. Okay. So schizophrenia and other psychotic disorders is the category, AP Learning Target number 6. Hallucinations, delusions are basically the positive symptoms. Those are what you really need to know. And then there's disorganized thought and speech. It is biological. Okay, it deals with different brain structures or brain structures being different, altered, damaged. And then it is, of course, psychotic. Okay. All right. Number 11. So that's the only one we're going to do. Basically, colleges from their curriculum and AP want you to focus on there. So we're going to move to another category, which are personality disorders, which is antisocial personality disorder, or ASPD. Okay. So just like there are more psychotic disorders, there are more personality disorders. This is just the one that they want us to focus on. So AP Learning Target number 9. An antisocial personality disorder is a marked disability in the personality disorder. So most of your probably violent criminals and most of your serial killers, if they were diagnosed with a mental illness, it would be this here. Okay, antisocial personality disorder. Okay, this is also what is commonly referred to as a sociopath or psychopath. Okay, and again, there is some conflict on what is the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath. These are really referred to as sociopaths, I think. Psychopaths are the kind of same thing, but they have broken from reality, which can also happen here. So I've read conflicting information, but I think if you have antisocial personality disorder, that's what they're going to go with now. And then a cultural term that could be used is sociopath or psychopath. But the reason they went away from those terms is because there's ambiguity there, there's confusion, and there's not agreement on the difference between the two. Okay, so if I am antisocial and I have ASPD, then I basically could have those labels. All right. So personality disorders as a whole are diagnosed when you have massive dysfunction in social and relationship behavior. Okay, all right, and I'll show a close-up. Okay, but I put dysfunction, and it's massive dysfunction in social relationship behavior. Okay, and in your social functioning. Okay. Okay, and I got social functioning is abnormal and massively marked abnormality in their social functioning, their relationships with other people. Okay, they do not operate in the normal realm. Okay, all right. Now this could take on a bunch of different forms. So this is just the general kind of definition of personality disorders. So dysfunction in social and relationship behavior. Social functioning is abnormal. Okay. Now that could take on specifics. Now with antisocial personality disorder, these individuals lack empathy, care, concern, morals. Okay. So in their relationship and their relationship functioning, I'm not going to say really lacks, they do not have empathy, care, concern, or morals when it comes to interacting with other people. Okay. Okay. So again, massive dysfunction in social behavior. Okay, and social functioning is abnormal, and specifically with antisocial personality disorder, they do not have the ability to have empathy, care, concern, morals, ethics for other people in regards to other people. They generally view people as things. They are tools, they are items, they are objects. Okay, they're not people, they're not human. All right, and we know by their brain scans, there's definitely a biological component to this. Okay, and it's mainly in that frontal lobe area that they lack. If you go back to that theory of mind from Piaget's test and development, we can actually give that to antisocial personality disorders, and they have a part of their frontal lobe that just does not light up. It's like their brain does not allow them to care for other people, to have that bond, to understand that other people have feelings. They're just completely objects, and these people are called. They lack remorse, they're calloused, and all that is probably pretty true. They just don't have the ability neurologically to care and concern for other people. So as a result, that is why they are more likely to be violent criminals, and serial killers. Now, again, this disorder is very rare, okay, but it does have a huge psychotic component. It does not have to, all right, but again, based on what I understand, if you're a sociopath, you have antisocial personality disorder, but you don't have the psychotic part of it. If I'm a psychopath, I'm antisocial personality disorder, and I have the break from reality, the psychotic part of it. So if you go down and look at the research of a lot of past and historical serial killers, you're definitely going to see this, and you're going to see this. Some of them, though, are also broke from reality. Like I think William Gacy, his dog told him who he should murder, so he believed that his dog talked to him, and he heard his dog talk to him. So again, we're getting back here to delusions and hallucinations. So that would be kind of more of a psychopathic type of behavior. But again, I think the DSM-4 and the 5 try to eliminate those two type of labels because there's just so much confusion. So they're sticking with antisocial personality disorder. Okay. All right. So if you like to watch the true crime TVs, investigations, when they start going through the Kitty Genovese case, okay, Edward Mosley was antisocial personality disorder. Okay, again, very calloused, no emotion, no remorse. He didn't really quite understand what the big deal about killing her was. He just wasn't neurologically able to go there, and that is antisocial personality disorder. Okay, all right. So let me blow this one up again, and I'll move it over. Okay, so antisocial personality disorder, APSD. guess I could do this as well. There we go. Okay, number 11. It's personality. Learning target number 9. Okay, and then I give you the specifics for antisocial personality, but also just for personality disorders that have also marked dysfunction in social relationship behavior. Social functioning is abnormal, okay? And then specifically with antisocial personality disorder, they lack empathy, care, concern, morals, ethics, remorse in all social interactions, okay? They kind of view people as things, as objects. It's biological. We know the antisocial personality disorder and personality disorders as a whole brain is different, mainly in that frontal lobe area. And it is psychotic because they can actually break from reality. Now, these are portrayed a lot. I know borderline personality probably is the most portrayed in the movies. If if it's not related to murder, or anything like that. You have it. You can see that people like stalkers, if you've heard about the historical, generally are probably borderline or antisocial, histrionic. I mean, there's different types, but they all have one thing in common is they all have marked huge dysfunction in social behavior and interaction with other people. It is markedly, definitely abnormal. It is different. It is not, doesn't fit the normal model. Okay. All right, these are also very tough to treat and very tough to diagnose. So actually the DSM-4 and DSM-5 made a huge change in their diagnostic criteria, going from a 5 system to a single plane diagnostic system. And one was in that they removed personality disorders from the diagnostic. So the DSM-4 used to have to say whether you thought they had a personality disorder or not based on their ability to relate to other people. And that's one of the 4 that they've moved out and just kind of look at it in the disorders as a whole. Okay. All right. Any questions on these 2? Again, check out the videos, read the book as always, but the video, again, I've got 2 great videos, informational on this, and basically how you can kind of experience what it was like. Because again, there's no way for us, if we have not experienced these things, and again, based on what you've seen, hopefully you don't ever want to experience it for real. You can't relate. You just can't understand what that's like. I mean, most of us function within a realm of normality in our relationships. We don't know what that's like not to view people as objects and things, and we can't ever get there. So it's kind of neat when we have technology that allows us to do that. Okay. So make sure you check out the videos there. And again, I've kind of recreated. So hopefully I've added also a couple of videos on the neurology of depression and bipolar, and then the neurology of anxiety. And they kind of go into the structures that are different, or that are changed by an environmental stimulus. So again, with depression, it's that hippocampus, and with anxiety, it's the amygdala. And they kind of show brain scans and how they're different. I'm also looking at, there's a great video I wanted to show in class, which some neurologists, some neuroscientists are developing imaging to where we can actually tell if somebody has had suicidal thoughts in the past. And also if they have attempted it, just based on a brain scan and areas that are active, and how active are they. It's really phenomenal research, and they can actually predict a lot of things about thinking. So again, we're getting back to that, brain scans is becoming more of a tool, hopefully for diagnostic purposes, and, but also getting back to that, can it be a lie detector as well, and stuff like that. It's really fascinating research. So I'm still looking at that one, and I think I'll post that one on there as well, as it does show, obviously, that, people who have had suicidal thoughts and or have attempted it, their brains are different, and we can kind of identify that there. Okay. All right, any questions? Looks like people are jumping off. Again, email me with any questions that you have. Don't forget, again, today you need to go onto Canvas and check out the videos for this section, but then also the AP notebook and how you're going to turn that in. So I've got your directions there. And again, you have through May 8th to do that. Question, do we do chapter vocab for these 2 chapters? If so, can you post the, oh yeah, good question. I'll put the picture on Canvas as well of 16 and 17. 17, there's hardly any. So yeah, I'll put those on there. Thanks, Peyton. Good question. Any other questions? Good. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, so the end is near. Yeah, after the 8th, seniors just have 2 days left. So yeah, it's hard to imagine it's this time of year just because we've been inside so much. But do you guys have any other questions? Hannah? Good question. The textbooks. Administration is still developing a policy on that. I asked that yesterday when I got the information about not being able to drop off the AP notebooks. So they said that was forthcoming, that they are working on a way that we could do that. We had to actually put in how many textbooks that we have out to students. So I put 150, and then, I don't know what they're going to do. I know with the athletes, we already had a drop off day. So the spring athletes had to go and drop off their equipment. So I assumed that the AP notebook would just be handled like that. It'd be no different. The coaches were up there, the kids came in, dropped them off. We just threw them in an area. And then, we left. So we maintained social distancing and they just dropped it off. So I assumed that, wrongfully so, that the drop off for the AP notebooks would be okay. But it's not. But I think that there has to be some type of drop off mechanism done for the textbooks. So, I think that we'll communicate that as soon as we know, but that's a good question. Thanks, Hannah. Any other questions? Okay. All right, everybody have a good Wednesday. Again, if you need anything, contact me, let me know, and I will see you guys tomorrow.